I'm Katelyn Mattson, and this is the Green Room. I have with me in the Green Room the new producing artistic director of Ballet Wichita, Logan Pachciarz. He is choreographing and directing the Nutcracker this season, which opens next Friday, the 13th. Hi, Logan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so happy to meet you and to have you on the Green Room. We adore the Nutcracker here at the station. Of course we do, and it's Nutcracker season. One of the things that sets Ballet Wichita apart from other productions of the Nutcracker in the area is that you have the Ballet Wichita Orchestra in the pit.
And it's always wonderful to have live accompaniment in the theater. And you're correct, it really sets things apart. It really kind of adds to the overall, I think in our emails, we said fuzziness and warmth of the
Yes.
Nutcracker season. It really kicks off the holiday season traditionally every year. And if you were to walk into any department store, you're probably listening to the Nutcracker music right now. But it's a really part of a longstanding tradition that each and every year is something that families love to go see, dancers love to be a part of and dance in, and it really does kick off that holiday season.
How many Nutcrackers would you say you've choreographed, directed over your career?
Hundreds. This is my first foray into actually choreographing a full-length Nutcracker. I've never had that opportunity in the past, but I've certainly directed and rehearsal directed Nutcrackers in the past. So it's something that happens every year. It's something that I've done since I was 7 years old. So all the music, the dancing, it's definitely a part of my fiber.
Yeah, your entire life has been dedicated to this art form. You yourself were a professional ballet dancer
Yes,
for many years before moving into teaching and choreographing. And you currently teach at KU, is that correct?
I teach at KU, and I work with Ballet Wichita quite a bit. And I have my own company in Kansas City called Moving Arts. So there's a lot of dance happening. It's a part of the fiber of being an artist.
Well, welcome to Wichita.
Oh, thank you
Um,
so much. I love it. It's been a wonderful experience.
oh yes, we love Wichita, obviously. Of course we do. We're very proud of Wichita and the hospitality Wichita brings to people and also all the delicious food. I mean, have you been eating really well when you come for rehearsals?
Of course. A little too diligently, so I need to. But and to speak to that point, there have been so many wonderful artists that I've met since coming to Wichita, especially working with the different dancers, but also meeting different people, specifically at WSU, and doing different things around the community has been a treasure. I mean, it's my lifelong passion to meet new artists and to hear different ideas, and it's been great coming back each and every time.
Whitney Reader, who leads the Wichita Grand Opera, is
Yes.
conducting the Ballet Wichita Symphony Orchestra in the pit. So Whitney will be there. And this opens Friday, December the 13th at 7 o'clock. There are two performances on Saturday, one at 2 and one at 7, and then a Sunday matinee at 2 o'clock, all of this next weekend. You can go to select a seat for tickets. You can be directed there if from the Ballet Wichita website. So maybe just heading over to the Ballet Wichita website is the best part because you have little pop-ups happening as well. Still, are they still going on in
They're still going
anticipation
on,
of next weekend?
and they're still going on, and we have two school shows on Wednesday for an invited audience for public schools for sign up. So two truncated shows for those kids, and they're going to be sending on to the season, so they're going to have a wonderful time.
We'll be back. We're going to talk about the production itself and what to expect um, with Logan. Thank you so much for being here. We're just going to take a short break and listen to a little bit of the Nutcracker. There are so many parts of the Nutcracker, which just as a musician, and I'm sure as a ballet lover and a ballet dancer, just kind of you keep so close to your heart. One of them is in the first act in the pine forest, that incredible music. That's what I have queued up. Do you have a favorite part of the Nutcracker that you'll admit to?
I do actually. It would have to be the Sugar Plum Cavalier uh, variation music. It's
We'll be
it's epic.
we'll be right back and talk more with Ballet Wichita. That's from Act One of the Nutcracker. I have the brand new producing artistic director of Ballet Wichita, Logan Pachciarz, did I say that right?
That is correct.
I can't get it to stick in my brain. Logan Pachciarz. This is his first year with Ballet Wichita, and you are directing and you've choreographed the entire ballet. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you tell us a bit about the roles in the Nutcracker? I think that the audience, we understand it's such a huge production, but you talk about each individual dance and each individual character. Sometimes there's a misconception that you hire one soloist, one lead male dancer, one lead female dancer, and they're the ones we're seeing who are dancing all of these big solos. Is that the case, or are there hundreds of
In
parts
actual,
here?
correct. In actuality, every single role, I mean, 60 to 70 plus roles that are in the Nutcracker that goes on to Century 2 are individually exclusive to themselves. For instance, for the divertissements, if you have coffee or tea or tray pack, they all have their own leads for each individual divertisement. So to say that if you have a symphony, every instrument has its own part in its own place. And this is very true to the Nutcracker, that there are varying roles. There are principal roles, but there's also soloist roles built into the Nutcracker. The primary role being that of the Sugar Plum and Cavalier,
Mm.
who's beautifully done by two Ballet Wichita natives, Taylor and Heidi. And I'm also bringing in guest artists from Kansas City Ballet, two principal artists, to perform in the production as well. But that's just one subset. We also have Snow King and Snow Queen, but we also have Mouse King and Mouse Queen. A lot of different roles are built into one to create a massive production to tell the story of essentially Clara and the Nutcracker.
And your approach to choreographing the Nutcracker, um, there are, I feel like, two schools of thought here. There are those people in the audience who are so desperate for it to never change because it's the Nutcracker that, their grandma took them to when they were 8. They want the traditional Nutcracker. But then you have another school of thought is, well, art is meant to grow and it's meant to stretch, our imaginations. So why don't we try something new? Where do you fit on that spectrum?
Uh, that's an interesting question. I think that art is a living, breathing thing. I think it's always changing. And so for this first iteration of the Nutcracker, what I developed is a very traditional sense of the traditional norm of seeing Nutcracker. But everything is always changing in in dance, in ballet, in contemporary arts. Everything is always changing and it's metamorphosing itself. It's always breathing and growing into a new thing. So I wanted to start with a very traditional sense and also to give a bite for the audience to come back year to year to year in different iterations of seeing what's new, how it evolves and develops in the future. So for this first iteration, it's a very traditional sense. In the next 5 years, we'll see where it grows and see what happens with how it changes. And with the traditionalists of Nutcracker, it needs to be very, you dot your I's, you cross your T's. For the art lover, first wanting to see something different in a contemporary form, it really does change from year to year. And you have to have a nice little sleight of eye to be able to see and notice what happens from year to year. So, it's a living, breathing thing, in my opinion. But, going forward, it's very traditional for this year.
Sure. And I imagine you had to have a really good sense of your dancers in Wichita before you began deciding on choreography. And do you tailor that depending on the group you have?
I tailor it to the group that is present in the studio. If you want to think about studio work, any type of dancing that happens in the studio, it's very sacrosanct. It really is developed with the artist in mind. So everything is developed through, their history, their dance history, what they can bring to the table, what their strengths are, to make sure that they look the best that they can on stage.
Mm. It's such a huge production and it takes so many volunteers. You think
Yes.
about the children alone. Anybody under the age of 18 on the stage. You think about the parent volunteers involved, people hoping, helping to sew costumes. Um, Ballet Wichita actually has costume classes where people can come throughout the entire year and learn about sewing and get experience sewing but ultimately what they're doing is sewing for the productions. And I think that's so wonderful to include the community that way.
It's a wonderful way to and it keeps the parents engaged with what the children are doing in the studio. And I think a lot of, schools, especially that benefit from Wichita, and there's some pretty amazing schools in Wichita, dance schools from the research that I've done. And the best thing that can happen is building uh, a societal being a part of something that really engages the parent, but
Yeah.
also keeps them coming into the studio. Because the students, when they come to the ballet school or go to a class in general, jazz, tap, modern, contemporary, lyrical, whatever they want to do, it's because they have passion for it. And it's always really nice when the parents become involved because it creates a society for their kids, and it creates something that's social a part of their nature, and it just really helps all around, and it's always fun. And I see the same faces on Saturdays and Sundays and give them a good smile and say, let's go to the Nutcracker, or depending on the production, what's next. And it's always really helpful for the parent.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're entering your production week here pretty soon, with your opening night on Friday, December the 13th at 7 o'clock. Um, get your tickets in advance. There will be, especially these matinees, I imagine, are going to be very close to selling out. I mean, this is always such a draw every holiday season. Go see the Nutcracker. Ballet Wichita, with the distinction of having the Ballet Wichita Symphony. It is conducted this year by Whitney Reeder, who is also the executive director, or the artistic director, I should say, of Wichita Grand Opera. So there's some more community collaboration, some fine arts ecosystem happening in the area.
That was good yes, ecosystem. And what's brilliant about that too is it's creating it's really kind of opening the doors to other arts organizations to come together, and in the future, and co-collaborating, and really kind of feeding off of each other for the future, and those different types of things. So I'm really excited to work with them.
Wonderful. So for tickets, you can go to Ballet Wichita's website. I think it's just balletwichita.org,
Yes.
O-R-G. And it can direct you there to the select a seat link. Don't Google Nutcracker tickets because you're going to get 24 links. Some of them not even for Nutcrackers in Kansas. Some of them are going to have $400 tickets, and it's going to be madness.
It's
Go to
madness.
go to balletwichita.org to make sure you get the right link for your tickets. Again, this opens on Friday the 13th. There are two performances on the 14th, one at 2, one at 7, and then a matinee on Sunday the 15th at 2. All of this happening at Century 2. Yeah.
I'm excited. I hope to see all of you there.
Well, have a wonderful holiday season, and I wish your entire company the best of health in the coming weeks.
Me too. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands, get good sleep. I
Get
think
good
what you
sleep.
do is just amazing. I think that the world of dance is just, I look at it with stars in my eyes. I just couldn't comprehend. I think it's wonderful.
It's a vibrant art form, and it's ever changing, it's ever evolving. It is something that, is delightful, especially for the audience, not only in the passion, but the emotional feeling of it, especially seeing a performance live, which is so
Right.
different than your
It is different. And I think
it's
more
different.
than anything, you're just so aware of, oh my gosh, these what athletes.
And the time and dedication that it takes. It really does take many hours of preparation and rehearsals. So, and they're doing it brilliantly. I mean, every dancer on stage looks gorgeous, and they're ready to rock and roll for the audience. So, yeah.
Well, have a good run, Logan. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Thank you so much.